So what comes to mind when you are approached by a policeman or a group of policemen? What feelings are you consumed with? Is it fear, anxiety, uncertainty, danger, and apprehension? Or is it relief, calm, solution, peace? The police is supposed to be a form of solace to a troubled and distressed person. But in some places, the police have shown to be the people's greatest nightmare. So before we get into this video, I would ask, what is the police to you? Begin to share all your experiences, both your personal experiences and the experiences of your family and people that you know. What is your experience and your perception of the police? So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Today's woeful story is the story of Godwin UDOH. It is the story of a man who lost his jaw, his job, his child's sanity, and his wife just because he couldn't give 2,000 naira. Akwa Ibom indigene Godwin UDOH was a simple man of very simple means. He was married to his dear wife Idongesit, and they resided at the Idimu area of Lagos State. The couple had 4 children together: Mary, who was 12, Blessing, who was 9, Abraham was 7, and 11-year-old Elijah, who they just had. Baby Elijah was that cherry on the pie that added balance to the gender equation of the UDOH family, making the children composition 2 boys and 2 girls. The UDOHs didn't have so much, but they sure were a happy, contented, and satisfied family. Godwin UDOH tried his best to provide for his family, but wherever he couldn't meet up, his loving and supportive wife was always there to fill in the gaps and stand in for her husband. They were devout Christians, and very often Godwin will take the whole family to church in their keke napep, their tricycle. On this fateful day, on the 16th of September 2015, at about 9:35 p.m., the UDOHs had gone to church as usual, and they were on their way back. Their church was located at the Ejigbo area of Lagos, and they were on their way back home. Godwin, of course, the driver, was seated at the driver's seat. Beside him was his wife and their new baby, while their 3 other children occupied the back seat. When they got to Ijegum bus stop, they met a group of policemen at the checkpoint. As Godwin approached them, he began to slow down and was shocked when one of the policemen brought out his gun to hit him. And so he pulled over because he was flagged down, and he approached them to find out what the issue was. Well, it seemed the local government had placed a ban on the use of tricycles for business purposes past a particular hour to check the criminal activities of hoodlums. So the team of policemen inquired from Godwin why he was still doing business with his tricycle past the curfew hour. Mr. Godwin explained to them that he wasn't doing business with the tricycle, that the occupants of the keke were members of his family. The keke was for the private use of his family. It was their private vehicle, and they were just coming back from church. At this point, his wife, Idongesit, who was carrying their little baby, 11-month-old Elijah, also alighted from the tricycle. She showed the policemen her Bible, explaining that she was not a passenger, but was his wife, and that the people at the back were their kids, and they were just coming back from church. A police corporal amongst the team by name Musifiu Aremu, who was the person who had attempted to hit Godwin earlier with his gun, said something within the light of, well, whatever be the case, Godwin must give him 2,000 naira bribe. That's about $2, and only then will he be allowed to leave. Godwin explained that he didn't have that amount of money with him, that he wasn't coming back from work, he was coming back from church, and that he didn't have 2,000 naira. But Corporal Aremu threatened to shoot him if he dared mate to go away without giving the bribe. But when the other policemen were satisfied with Godwin's explanation that he wasn't doing business, they discharged him to go. And Godwin, thinking that he had the collective endorsement of the police team, walked into his keke napep and tried to start the engine. It was then that he heard some deafening sounds that would change the trajectory of his life forever. What he heard was not the sound of his tire burst. What he heard was not the sound of thunder that comes before a rain. What he heard was the loud sounds of bullets being discharged from Corporal Aremu's AK-47 rifle, who had just sprayed the keke napep that he and his family were occupying with live bullets. Some of the bullets met Godwin, shattering his jaw and piercing through his right arm. The blood was gushing down his chin like a newly commissioned rural water project. His arm paralyzed. He was in shock. Everywhere was spinning, holding his jaw, wondering what just happened. He had not realized that his wife had also gotten hit, even more fatally, until his children started shouting and crying, "Mommy is dying. Mommy is dying." At this point, it seemed like Mr. Godwin's pain had disappeared for a second. He dashed round to check his wife, panicking, shaking frantically when he saw his wife. Her head was dangling loosely on her neck, blood oozing freely from her eyes, her nose, her ears. One of the bullets that Corporal Aremu had fired had met with a dongeset in the head, penetrating her brains from the right side of her skull and exiting from the left. She slumped there, bleeding, with her newborn baby, her breastfeeding baby, still clutched to her torso, soaked in his mother's blood. Godwin UDOH, who was shaken in utter disbelief of what just happened, walked back to the police guys, asking, crying, "What have I done? What have I done?" The same policeman who had just shot them cocked his gun and faced it to Mr. UDOH, while the driver of the police vehicle quickly started the car, positioned it towards the road, and the remaining three of them hopped in and they sped out, leaving Godwin, his wife, and their kids bleeding and helpless by the roadside in the dead of the night. When Godwin saw that the police team who had shot at them had escaped, and of course he couldn't have chased them, he had to go into survival mode. Despite bleeding profusely and in severe pains, he knew that he had to do something to save his family, and so he began calling for help. Unfortunately, none of the cars he called agreed to stop. He kept on flagging and flagging vehicles until fortunately a Danfo driver, a bus driver, stopped, and with the assistance of another woman, they were rushed to the hospital. When they got to the first hospital, they were rejected. They went to the second, same thing. They were unsuccessful getting treatment there before they eventually ended up at the Ikorodu General Hospital. There at the government hospital, they were asked to submit a police report before they could get treatment. They rushed to the Idimu area command to obtain a police report, but they were sent back by the police, who told them that that was an emergency case and they did not need a police report to get treatment for emergency cases. The bus driver explained to the police that the hospital staff knew, they know that it was indeed an emergency, but still sent them to the police to get a report. They still insisted for that report before treatment can commence. But the police also put their foot down that a police report will not be needed in this situation. And so they rushed back to the hospital. And when they got back to the hospital again, according to Mr. Godwin UDOH, they were denied treatment. The hospital staff insisted on that police report. And so the driver had to go back to the area command to facilitate the police reports. And fortunately, he was able to obtain one. Thankfully also, by the time he got back to the hospital, the staff at the Ikorodu General Hospital had commenced first aid. They were thereafter referred to the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. At this point, the bus driver realized that he had run out of gas, so they had to go back to the area command to solicit assistance for a vehicle that would transfer them from Ikorodu General Hospital to the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Please do not ask me why a government hospital does not have a ready ambulance on ground. But before we proceed with this story, if you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you're watching me without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. Also turn on your bell notifications, because there is so much that you'll get on this channel. So let's proceed. So while at the area command, they met some top policemen, some senior level police officers, who told them that the officers who perpetrated that crime have been apprehended and the matter will be handled very sternly until justice is given. They released the vehicle to convey them to Lutz, and they catered to the medical bills. Godwin underwent several surgeries to save his arm and his jaw, but his wife was not as fortunate. Her injuries were far more fatal. She died by the bullets fired by Corporal Aremu. As it should, this case caused a huge uproar. Human rights groups, civil society groups, several organizations springing up, protesting the tragic incident and demanding justice. The Inspector General of Police at the time made a lot of promises to the UDOH family. He promised justice, compensation, free medical care, free education for his children. But
the IG made a lot of promises to compensate me and my children and my family and take care of my treatment, and also promised scholarship for my children, which the Commissioner of Police at that time issued certificate for scholarship. Since that time up to today, they have not fulfilled that promise.
Mr. Godwin hired the services of a legal team and they sued the Nigerian police force to court. After a lengthy trial that took years, the court awarded judgment in Mr. Godwin's favor, demanding that the Nigerian police pays them a compensation of 100 million naira for the many damages that they have caused his family. But when the CBN was served with the judgment, they said that the Nigerian police had only 500,000 in their coffers, in their accounts, and hence were incapable of fulfilling and paying the judgment debt. At this point, I'm sure a lot of you have your blood boiling already. I'm sure you're going to ask, so whatever happened to that policeman, that devil incarnate of a police? I hope he has been sentenced and executed. I hope he is rotting in a prison where he's going to spend the rest of his life. I hope. Well, on this one, let us hear directly from Mr. Godwin's mouth.
The policeman that shot me was arrested, and 2 years ago, I discovered that he was released on bail and up to since the time they transferred this case from a Betemeta Magistrate Court, one day brought this policeman to the court.
Mr. Godwin and his family now lives with the physical and mental damage that horrendous incident has caused them. Mr. Godwin lost his dear wife, his support system, his helpmates due to his injuries and his long absence from work. He also lost his job, and getting another has proved to be a Herculean task. He has an iron in his mouth which makes chewing almost impossible, excruciatingly painful for him. And the doctors have advised that the metal has to be replaced with bone ASAP. But he lacks the finance to fund the surgery. His first daughter, who witnessed the execution of her mother and was grown enough to process it mentally, never recovered from the shock. With high trauma, no therapy, no counseling, no form of post-traumatic stress disorder management, nothing of that sort. She came down with mental health challenges.
The incident of that attack affected my first daughter here, because she was sitting by the side of the mother when the incident happened. The trauma of that gunshot affected her brain.
Mr. Godwin's whole life was shattered by that one person whose job it was to protect him. And despite all the calamities that has been caused to him, it is 2023, 8 years after that incident, and still no justice. You see, when we say injustice to one is injustice to all, we may not fully comprehend what that means. We may sit comfortably in our corners saying it's none of our business, it's far away from us, it's none of our concern. But I tell you, it is just like a virus, and it spreads so fast. If not curbed, one day might come knocking at our doors. So we must keep talking, and we must keep speaking, and we must keep spreading the word, and we must keep demanding justice until our voices get to the ears of the people who would do something. So in whatever capacity that you can, even if it's the hashtag in the comment section, Justice for Godwin UDOH, if it means sharing the video, if it means joining in the conversation, in whatever capacity that we can, we must keep making our voices heard, because injustice to one is injustice to all. It is my fervent hope that justice will be given in no distant time. So guys, we have come to the end of today's chilling and sad video. If you're new here, or if you just seen me for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, drop all your comments and feelings down in the comment section, turn on your bell notifications, and stay glued because we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now,